Hi. I can't hear myself. I gotta hear myself or else it's not official. Plug myself into my Focusrite. And yeah. Oh yeah. How you doing? Getting ready to film another podcast, or getting ready to record another podcast episode. Checkity check. We're live. Okay. Hey, I'm Sarah. I'm a psychic medium intuitive. And oh my. Oh, I forgot to I was outside doing some shoveling because I am in the eastern part of the United States and we had a big ass storm and I'm still trying to get out from underneath it. But now it's like all crusty and it's hard to shovel. So it takes even longer, but that first day was pretty heavy. Or no, it was pretty light, and then the next day it got pretty heavy because stuff started melting. But anyway, okay. Where was it? What? How did I talk about that? Okay, we're already a minute and a half in, and I feel like I already need to start talking about my topic. Today's topic, or this episode's topic, let me bring this down a little bit. I'm wearing kind of a crappy shirt, and I don't want you guys seeing that. It's got like holes in it. Ooh. Okay. So today's topic is actually inspired. Hi. Is actually inspired by Carolyn Miss. If you don't know who she is, you need to stop watching this video. Well, no, keep watching. At the end, go put in your search Carolyn Miss, MYSS. And I will let her reveal herself to you. But she's a writer and she is the matriarch of our soul journey world. I'll put it that way. As much as I want to be the mama, she's like for real mama. Going with the green tea, super antioxidants. It's got just a little bit of sweetness in it, so it's not like terrible. But actually, I'll hold on to that because it's nice and warm. She did a video. Oh yeah, here. She did a video in December about imagination. And I saw it and I watched through the whole half hour of it. And she calls it a prayer, and it's really just kind of a conversation about imagination. And then she does like a prayer kind of thing. And I will admit, and I'll mention this in the podcast, and I don't want to talk too much about it because when I start talking about stuff here, I forget what I've already talked about once I start doing the podcast. So I think I already talked about something, and then I realized that I talked about it with you and not on the podcast. So I need to keep some things for the podcast as much as I want to just chatter away with you. But yeah, so we're going to talk about imagination and what sort of inspired me to want to talk about it. Yeah, it was Carolyn's thing and she was mentioning imagination, but it's also important from my perspective to talk about imagination because that is where I go to get my messages. And I figure anybody who wants to connect with their soul abilities and their soul senses understand where it happens. You know, where do I go in my head? It's that screen of imagination. And so I'm going to talk about my perspective in that. And also the limitations and the possibilities with our imaginations. That's my cup. Okay. Lucy's upstairs. You might hear her using her skateboard in the house like I told her not to. Okay, we are already 5 minutes in and I have not even started the podcast, so we're going to do that. And let's see how this goes because I feel completely unprepared for this podcast. Okay. Carolyn Miss. Have you heard of her? If you haven't, then you got some education to do. But I'm guessing if you've gotten this far in the podcast and you're this interested in soul abilities and stuff, then Carolyn Miss is probably a name you've come across. She's an author, she's a speaker, and she talks about all kinds of soul stuff. I'll give her a better introduction later in the podcast here, but she got me thinking about imagination. And I have to admit, imagination, it's one of those things in our culture that even I have a hard time grasping, but there's something true to my soul journey in the way that I perceive and where I get my information when it comes to messaging that is from imagination, that place where we have imagination. Oh, but imagination is not real. Mhm. Well, that's what we're gonna talk about this episode on NextGEN Medium, the podcast. Okay, so now I have to explain who I am. Every episode I gotta do this. Hey, I'm Sarah Nickerson. I have discovered my psychic intuitive mediumship abilities. I did that a couple years ago. And I uncovered it in sort of a quiet kind of way where I didn't have this massive moment, shocking experience. It was just kind of like, I'll sign up for this class. And I did it. And it just completely blew up my world. I had a spiritual awakening. And now here I am talking to you because I'm able to speak with people who have passed. I'm able to see things that happen for other people, either from their past or that could happen in their future. I can tell things about people that has to do with their energy, that has to do with how they feel. And I'm not alone because you are invited to be a part of this world too. There is no way in hell discovering this at 33, having a couple of hints along the way, but just uncovering this iceberg of information about who I am. I just cannot imagine that I'm alone in this, in that this has to be something that everybody can do. At least the intuition part. The psychic part, that's something to explore. The mediumship part, that's something to explore. Healing, I have yet to get there. I don't know if that's a thing I can do, but you know what? I've come across some pretty amazing things that I didn't know I could do for 33 years, and I'm not going to say it doesn't happen. And you know why? Because I can imagine that that's a possibility. And that's what we're talking about, imagination. And there's so many songs that come to mind that I wanna sing to you, but I won't because that's annoying. Plus I don't wanna get copyright infringement or whatever. Um, but, imagination, such an important thing you need to have to survive as a human being, but also to use as a tool for your soul senses, your soul abilities. So let's first talk about what inspired me to want to talk about this. And here's where I bring up Carolyn Miss. Miss Carolyn Miss. Ms. Carolyn Miss. Okay. Ha. Carolyn. If you don't know who Carolyn Miss is, it's kind of amazing. And I can't wait that I'm the person that gets to tell you this name because she speaks on many levels of my own truths, and she continues to expand my realm of possibility. I had a burp. I don't have a lot of books about psychic mediumship stuff. I have like 6 books. I am a book kind of person, but I have to admit that my library is kind of lacking, and part of that is because I'm very cheap, but I know the value of a good book. And one of the very few books that I do own about this stuff, one of them is written by Carolyn Miss, and it's called Sacred Contracts. Now, there's a lot of stuff in this book that talks about the soul journey and actually is a lot of stuff that happens before we're born. Um, do do I subscribe 100% to the stuff in that book that Carolyn Miss wrote? I'm getting there. Like I am open to possibility because simply because I've come across so many impossible things in the past couple years. Who's to say what is impossible? So I'm going to be open to what other people think are possible because maybe that little bit of information that's put in my brain, and this has happened before, indirectly related to Carolyn Miss, actually, maybe it broadens my truth, what I stand firm in and what I believe. So, anyway, Carolyn, she wrote the Sacred Contracts book. She has written many, many books. She's a New York Times bestselling author. This is from her website, by the way. International speaker about many aspects of like those new agey topics. And I want to give you a rundown of what she covers. And this is from her website. So I just want to make sure that's credited. Okay. Human consciousness, spirituality, mysticism, health, energy medicine, science of medical intuition. So here's my weird connection with Carolyn Miss. Um, Medical intuition, I mentioned that. If you can recall, I got to talk to a medical intuitive, Elizabeth Thorson, who I actually just made an appointment with, and I can't wait to visit with her and have her, you know, do a sitting with me. But Elizabeth Thorson threw out this one little piece of information during our interview that sat with me for several months. And that eventually, that little piece of information she threw out to me made me understand things to a different level, to the point where I grew with understanding my soul abilities, my soul truth, really. And I came to see how important intuition was through her. And that it really is the foundation and something we can all count on as the direct. You didn't hear that? Lucy dropped something, and it always makes me laugh because she's so loud in her room. And I know it's going to get picked up on the podcast. You can't hear it, but it will happen on the podcast. Oh, crap. What was I saying? So, Elizabeth Thorson, this hour-long conversation I had with her, a student of Carolyn Miss, there's the connection. She gave me just a little piece of information, and with time, it became an incredible truth to me that has really changed my point of view of how things work in the soul world. And that intuition is the one thing we can all count on as a soul ability for each and every one of us. It is your direct link to your higher self. Okay. Carolyn Miss is really important to me because of that connection. But she's really interesting to listen to. I will say when I first started getting into or when I first started getting into Carolyn Miss, one thing I noticed with how she talks about soul stuff is she does use certain words that are related to religious stuff. And for me, it was kind of hard to get past. I have my own sort of bias when it comes to religious stuff. And when you say words like God and holy and spirit, or not even spirit, I kind of feel that way about it. That's why I like to say source. Um, but angels. So using words like this kind of were off putting for me. And I think it's just maybe a generational thing. And maybe she uses that, first of all, because it's something she truly believes, but also it's a way for people to relate who may be religious and may see things differently and feel a little more comfortable getting into the soul journey world because of her being able to use these phrases. I think I said that okay. I think I said that all right. But I will say for me, as a non-religious person, as someone who has some negative views about religion, which I am working on, I now do see some positive aspects of religion. We're actually going to talk about religion in another episode coming up. It was kind of hard for me to be able to listen and listen with the intent of how is my truth going to grow. Um, but I've gotten to a point where I see um, that her using those words, I can easily transpose it to my own comfortable understanding, my own comfortable lexicon that I use, and it is a direct translation. So, and with that, I feel much more comfortable listening to how Carolyn talks about things. Okay, so let's get to the video that inspired me from Carolyn Miss. Oh man, this is gonna suck to edit this whole podcast. So the video that Carolyn put out in December that inspired me to talk about imagination is called Holy Imagination. This is the video that she put up. You can find it on YouTube. I have it in my blog. Actually, I'm going to talk about a couple videos today, and they're all in the blog. So if you want to check out the videos, just go to nextgenmedium.com/blog, and that will be the first blog post that you come across on that page. So she goes into talking about imagination and how our society has certain views about imagination that really puts it down. In some ways, imagination is revered. Um, when we're talking about music or art, but even if you get too imaginative with it, then it's like people think kind of negatively about it because they have a hard time relating to it. Um, and it it goes right hand in hand with how people deal with imagination. Some people just can't deal with what the imagination can do. And in our society, we have a tendency to believe that what happens in the imagination is not real. It's not real. Oh, that's your imagination playing tricks on you. Um, and I think it's really interesting how Carolyn talks about it in this video because we use our imagination to create possibility in our worlds. It's sort of the introduction to what is possible and what's not possible. And if we can't imagine it, then it can't be possible because we limit ourselves to believe that that is not in our realm, in our world, in our reality. So, imagination, not reality, right? Well, think of it this way. What is something we go to our imagination for? What what is a circumstance where we always go to our imagination? And because we use our imagination, it affects our lives in such a real way that you cannot deny the presence of imagination is a real thing. I feel like something's taken over my brain right now because I am talking so well and I feel so unprepared for this talk. That's not going in the podcast, but let me tell you what is so real in the imagination that it affects you nearly every minute of your life. And the way it impacts your life, you can't deny how real it is. And that's fear. There are times to use your imagination and to have fear as something to protect you when it comes to your physical well being. You don't want to go hungry. You don't want to lose your house. Um, Stuff like that, you know? But we often will go to our imagination to feed fear that's related to who we are, our ego. Fear that has to do with the ego. So that fear would be the fear of what other people think about me. There's a reason why you didn't go to school to do the thing that you actually wanted to do because you were really worried about what your parents would think about you going into that direction as opposed to the direction that they expected you to go to or that they wanted you to go to. Okay. So think about all the things that you imagine that are the fears that you live by, that you adhere to, the fears that are controlling you, controlling your choices. Tell me that's not real. Now, let's flip it. When you go to your imagination to do something that makes you happy, how do you feel about that? Should I tell you a personal story? How about this? Okay, let's imagine, if you will. I'm going to go to my imagination while I'm in the shower and I'm going to pretend I'm in front of an audience and I'm singing and it's really fun and it feels really good. And I think I'm a really good singer and everybody loves me. And this is all in the imagination. And then someone walks in the bathroom and then, oh, you caught me using my imagination. You feel embarrassed. You feel ashamed. There's that fear coming in, right? What a pain in the ass, that fear. But here you are using your imagination. You're using your imagination in a way that makes you feel good, that makes you feel valued, that even makes you dream a little bit that I could be a singer on a stage in front of all kinds of people and feel really confident and everybody is totally buying into me being a really great singer. And then your secret is found. You are using your imagination and then you feel ashamed. You feel ashamed. You feel embarrassed. How terrible is that? That we go to our imagination to feel good and then it turns on us that we feel bad about feeling good at using our imagination. It's such a powerful place, the imagination. It is also where we limit our possibilities. So, there's this exercise I've come across, and this will not be a half hour podcast. This will not, or this will be a half hour podcast. This video will not be an hour long, even though it will be. Excuse me. There's this exercise at some point I've come across where, let's say you're living in a house and you want a nicer house. And how do you put that into your reality? One way to put it into your reality is having the energy that you already live in the house that you want. And then putting that energy out there actually brings the house to you because you're already living the vibes that you got the house you want. And so energy attracts like energy. And actually, was it last night? I decided I'm going to tour the house that I really, really want. I don't know of a physical, real house that I would tour that I would really, really want. But I made one up in my imagination while I was laying in bed, while I was going to sleep. And I was imagining the land that it was on, and it it felt like a dream. And it's the energy I want to put out so that I can have a home where maybe I can have my own office, my own space, so I can have my stuff set up comfortably, so I can just do a couple clicks of the button when I feel inspired and have a nice quiet place and just get going as soon as something hits me that I'm really inspired to talk about or to do or to write about. And so I have it in my imagination of what is possible. What is possible is this beautiful two-story house with a full basement. I've got solar panels on the lawn. I've got a nice backyard so the kids can play. I got a nice deck out back with a sliding door that goes to it. I have a couple of sort of like cabins in the back so friends and family can come and stay for the weekends. Um, like this is all in my head. I've got a beautiful view. The front door. If I'm looking out the front door, I see a beautiful view of like rolling hills. You know, I want wide open skies. I want to be like one on one with the sun and the sky and the stars if I want to be. Um, I got space, I've got um resources, I've got everything I need. And this is the space that I want to be in. And this is the energy I feel when I'm in that space. That is something I have to create in my imagination in order for that to come to my real life. Just like when you make goals, like you want to get to a manager position of the job you have. I want to make more money. I like the job that I have, and I want to have that position. First of all, you have to have it in your head that I could do that. Because if you already have it in your head and you limit yourself, then if you already have it in your head that you can't do it, then what kind of chance are you going to have to be able to do it? And maybe fate is going to step in and get you in there anyway. And then you got to prove it to yourself. Um, but anyway, imagination, the place of limits, but also the place of possibilities. Using your imagination is actually a way for you to connect. Okay. But first, you have to imagine that you can connect. And we can. It's that place of imagination where you have to build that expectation. I hate saying expectation. It's that place where you need to imagine that it's a possibility and then use the tool of imagination to get your messaging. Let's talk about that. Wow. I'm going off on tangents here. Whew, I am ripping through this. Okay. So this is where I contribute my piece of imagination. I get to tell you that that place of imagination where I've gone to for the longest time and I'm quite comfortable with, but I would be embarrassed if people saw me using it, even though I've shown you guys in a place of imagination that I have been um, on my YouTube channel, just doing a reading, just whipping one out, just showing you what it's like. Um, Whipping one out, a reading. A reading. Okay. An example of how to do a reading and doing it by yourself to get comfortable. Um, Using my imagination. Let me rephrase that. My place of imagination is where I receive messaging. I am clairvoyance. I see imagery. I'm a very visual person when it comes to my conscious my higher conscious person, my regular conscious person. So I'm a very visual person. I'm a person and I see things. I see things with my eyes, but also like not my eyes. They're kind of my eyes, but they're not my eyes. Ugh. Okay, this is when everything falls apart. It is my place of imagination that is a screen that I use to receive messages. It is also this place of imagination that helps me figure out tasks, goals, that helps me figure out what my next step is or to imagine what the next steps could be or the place that I want to go where that is. That is such broad, ridiculous terminology. But let me explain. There's two ways that I use imagination. Is this what it's going to be like for you when you want to be able to receive your messaging? I don't know, but this is my experience and I'm passing it along to you because maybe this helps you. And maybe this is like a universal thing. I don't know. It could be. What if it is? It's a possibility. Using my imagination. I love my imagination. So there are two ways that I use my imagination. One is I go there when I want to use the technology of my imagination. I want to use it. I am giving it a purpose. I am going there with a task to figure out something for myself that comes back to myself and that I can utilize. Okay. The second way that I use my imagination is I go there without a task. I'm leaving it blank and I let something else flash into the screen. And it is a flash. It comes, it's there, I'm looking at it, I'm perceiving it, and then I'm processing, interpreting what I'm seeing. That is the process. It sounds dumb simple, but it can't be complex or else we would never be able to understand this. That is me using my imagination for my everyday things when I'm trying to figure out something for my website, when I'm trying to figure out something for my real job, when I'm trying to figure out how to deal with my kids. But there's another way to use the imagination where it's a technology used by something else for you. How do I say this? It is a tool for something else in order for you to perceive and take in the information. So it's a notepad that is shared between me wanting to write and figure things out for myself and also used by something that's not me, giving me information that can use that that can use that pad of paper as well. That information's for me. Whether I go there to get information to figure things out, or maybe it's I'm being helped to figure things out. It's possible. Or something else is being given the control to put something there, and I will see what's going on, see what it is, and then I will take it in and try to understand it. It is that simple. How do I get to my place of imagination? I think you use it, you don't even realize it. Um, hmm, hmm. This is what I would recommend to you, and it sounds so dumb simple. Close your eyes. Wait for an idea to pop in. Okay, you got the idea? That's where your imagination is. That's where it is. Get familiar with it. Maybe you just don't realize how this technology is even a part of what you do anyway. Maybe there's just that lack of awareness, and now's your time to explore that. Um, that's why meditation is really like a big tool in this whole soul journey stuff. It's a way to be able to focus on the stuff that's coming in. I think for some people, meditation it's a little hard for them because they're so used to doing so many things or having their mind on so many things at one time that they're not used to having focus on just one thing. And if that's the case, then you don't have to sit down and do a deep meditation to get to that imagination. How do you use your imagination? Are you a daydreamer? Do you do artwork? Um, use your imagination when you're trying to figure out work stuff. How you're going to build a spreadsheet. How you're going to build a spreadsheet, how you're going to create a Word document. You got to use that imagination in order for, and have the ideas in order for it to come to be. How do you solve a task? You use your imagination. Maybe this is what you need to get familiar with if you're having a hard time tapping in. Where is that place? Identifying where it is, where that information is supposed to come from. For me, it's very much my imagination. And for me, visually, it is a screen. I will say another way that I use imagination that isn't related to sight, I can specifically draw to with my experience with using my soul sense um, of smell, also called clairalience, clairsent, clairolfaction. Olfaction. Clairolfaction. I hate that word. The way that I've been able to use my sense of smell, using my soul senses, in which I'm able to pick up scents that aren't around me, but will be subtly. This is how I explain it in the blog. I notice if I breathe in very still and almost not at all, I tend to get more accurate receiving of smells. It's so subtle. And I let my imagination interpret. I'm opening up the possibility, but I also have to assess and perceive, process. It's that it's just really simple. It, you might realize that you're overcomplicating things in a lot of different ways. Could be your fears getting in the way, telling you, no, this isn't possible, or where is it? Why isn't it happening? I can't believe how hard this is. Or maybe you're reacting in a way that's just too loud for it to come through. Does that make any sense? So those are my tips for you for imagination, for how important imagination is in getting to know your soul abilities and your soul senses. Because the big thing about imagination is it's where we go to have our possibilities. And if you're limiting that, then you're limiting your own possibilities in revealing the soul stuff to yourself. Um, this is where I get to talk about Charlie Kelly. So let's talk about Kelly for a second. So going off of imagination and limiting ourselves, there are ways that you can limit yourself as a medium if this is the direction you want to go, but it also translates to psychic and intuition stuff. Um, and there's a couple things I want to bring up about Charlie Kelly. Charlie Kelly is a medium out of the UK, and he's up on YouTube too. I love this guy. He's so straightforward and he's sort of anti-establishment, and I'm so down with that. I love it. And he has a couple of videos that I want you to check out. And how this relates with imagination is truth. In this first video that I shared with you on my blog, it's called You Don't Know What You Need. Charlie talks about how we limit ourselves by avoiding uncomfortable things. But frankly, if you feel comfortable, then you aren't getting better at using your abilities. So, this is sort of an overarching kind of lesson in that if you feel comfortable, then you're not doing it right or you're not growing. You're not expanding your possibility. So, if you're feeling frustrated with the process, then you're in the right place, right? You're uncomfortable. You're frustrated. Getting comfortable with using your imagination means you have to experiment and uncover its truth. That can feel embarrassing, but that little egoic pain will dissolve when the power of your imagination's truth becomes revealed. So check that Charlie video out. Another Charlie video that I have up on my blog that I want you to see. It's called Why Don't I Get the Communication I Want? Oh, full disclosure, these people have no idea. Carolyn Miss and Charlie Kelly, they have no idea that I'm talking about their stuff. So if you think I'm getting a kickback for this, nope. This is because these are people that I truly resonate with and I want to share with you guys because I love these people. So in this second video, why don't I get the communication I want? Love this video. This is a great video because Charlie talks about how mediums limit themselves because it can't be possible, using logic to trump the possibility of circumstances, limiting the possibility in the imagination. Imagination is the technology of the soul. You limit this tool and then you won't get all the information. His specific example is for the longest time, he's gone to mediums and they never pick up on his sister. He knows first of all, he's a medium. He knows his sister's in spirit. Why can't other people pick up on this person? She is the life of the party. Her energy is going to come across like a wall, like a kick in the head, you know? Why is nobody picking up on it? And this is where Charlie uncovers the responsibility of a medium in that the person that you come across that stands in front of you to do a sitting, you are putting your own perceptions about who has passed around them and on them, and it is not your responsibility. Your responsibility as a medium is to be open to those possibilities. That Charlie Kelly, a young man, that his sister is over in spirit. And if you can't be open to having a young person up in spirit, then you're not going to be able to connect with people that really want to be connected and talk with people that are here on the earth plane and vice versa. If you can't open the possibility that someone had a stillborn baby and they want to connect with the baby, if that's not open in your world of possibility, then you are doing a disservice as a medium. There is responsibility in using your soul abilities and soul senses, and that is putting your own bias and putting your own limitations aside, because you need to be that realm of possibility that other people cannot be. You need to do that. Damn. I feel like I'm channeling something amazing today. This conversations do not happen like this. Or at least my perception of how this conversation is going seems pretty good. So please check out these 2 videos from Charlie Kelly. And I know that Carolyn Miss and Charlie Kelly, if you haven't come across these guys, like, you're welcome. You're welcome. I wish I could talk with them myself. But they're busy people. They're very busy people. But possibility. There's always a possible out there. Hey, how do I know if I don't reach out? See, that's always been like one of my big things in life. And the one example I always use, so I believe it's up to you to reach your true potential, that fate will help to some extent, but you need to open those opportunities up. An example of that was I felt peer pressure to apply for a radio job years ago. And I felt like, I said I was going to do it. Now I got to do it. And as I was going through making the resume, creating these audio tracks to kind of give samples of what I could sound like on air. As I was preparing, it was like, wait a second, I might be able to do this. This maybe isn't too weird, like out of the realm of possibilities. Like maybe I could actually do this. I went to the radio station, dropped my stuff off, and I got a call a couple days later. They're like, hey, is this Sarah? Like, yeah. And it was Bobby Russell, who's like, that's a name around here that because he's from the radio. And hey, it's Bobby Russell, and I wanted you to come down the station. I wanted to meet you. Okay. So I went down. At the time, I was working at a hospital. And so I went down the road to the radio station, and uh, I walked through the door, and within like couple minutes, he's like, "Yeah, I just want to meet you to make sure you weren't, some weirdo, but hey, you want to do a radio job?" And it was like, "What?" Did I think of radio as a possibility for me? Not really. Even though I went to school for communications, never did I venture near the radio studio. And now, well, getting that job started my career in radio. And if I hadn't felt the peer pressure, the fear, um, of, applying for the job because I said I would. I sounded like I was interested, and then I ended up really liking the job and really liking the people I worked with, and, since then, I've been working pretty much in radio ever since. So, I didn't open my world to that possibility, but it ended up being a very real possibility. It became my job. It became my career, what I've been doing ever since. Don't ask me how many years. Maybe 6? Maybe? I've lost count. Um, but if I had limited myself and decided not to apply for that job, I would be working minimum wage doing something, even though I have a bachelor's, because that's how the world works nowadays. Or doing a job that I'm not really cool with. Or maybe having not had the spiritual awakening that I had a couple years ago. I don't know. But you have to kind of give a little bit of yourself in order to get stuff back for yourself. But again, that's about that limiting thing. And sometimes things will blow you away that make you realize what things are really possible. And with my spiritual awakening and uncovering all the soul abilities and soul senses that I really had no idea about a couple years ago, possibilities are endless to me. And that's just my reality now. And so when I come across people that have some outlandish things to say, um, 5D worlds, seeds, was it star seeds, or I don't know, twin flames, like these kinds of phrases inside, I guess my kind of egoic instinctual self goes, "Ugh." But then there's another part of me, my higher self, that goes, how do you know, Sarah? You know, you got to be open to those possibilities. And there's lots of things I've experienced that, I have to, I'm very consciously aware that I could tell people my experiences and they could just be like, mm-hmm, okay. I kind of feel that way with my husband sometimes. He's good though. He's good about it. But um it's not their truth, you know? And just like people talking about star seeds, or I don't even know if I'm saying the right phrases, 5D dimension or whatever. Um Maybe there's something they've experienced that makes them feel like this is their truth. And power to you. If it's not hurting me and it makes you feel good, and you know, you go for it. Um if it's bringing positivity to the world, yeah. Hell yeah. Uh and who knows, maybe, a couple years from now it will be truth. My truth, maybe a collective kind of truth, I don't know. But don't say something's not a possibility, because once you uncover things that should be impossible, should be, um, it really opens you up to, I don't know shit. And that's okay, because every day we're learning new shit. So it's just kind of how it goes. All right, I'm rambling now. All right, so final thoughts on the podcast, which is not going to be an hour long. Use your imagination, set yourself free. Practice using it, and maybe you'll start to get that controlled messaging you've been waiting for, where to tap in. Just be open to the possibilities. Let it let it be the screen to receive your messaging by going there without expectation. Even though I said go there expecting. Um, go there without expectation and open to what is revealed. I'm going to leave you with a final thought, and it's a quote from Carolyn Miss's video that I have in my blog that you have to check out. Holy Imagination. That's what she's calling the video. It's on YouTube. And it's the very, very last thing that she says in the video, and I like it a lot. First of all, she mentioned the word badass grace. I need some badass grace. The grace word kind of makes me, but badass grace, yeah, Carolyn Miss, badass grace. And this is what she said, very last line in the video that I'm going to leave you with. If someone ever said to me, "You're just imagining," I'd say, "You damn right I am." There's power in that. Power, power, power. Now you got to find yours. Yeah, Carolyn. Yeah. All right, that's it for this episode of NextGEN Medium. Whew. Ooh, I need a nap now. Go use my imagination for a while. Imagine myself napping. Uh, go to my website, nextgenmedium.com, get a consult with me. We can do a development session. It's 45 minutes where I get to chat with you over Zoom and I get to know your story. And through getting to know your story and your experiences, we can figure out what your soul senses are, what your soul abilities are, maybe what could be coming for to fulfill like a more rounded soul abilities. I don't think I'm explaining this well. So let me try this again. Go to nextgenmedium.com and schedule a consult with me, a development session. It's a 45-minute chat over Zoom where we can talk about your experiences and it'll allow me to assess what your abilities are, what your soul senses are, and maybe even be able to give you a direction with where to go with that stuff. I want to help you build that intuition. I also want to take a look at your energy and see what maybe we should be addressing that could be blocking why things maybe aren't developing the way you would like them to. I can also take a look kind of using my psychic intuitive abilities into what direction I kind of see you going. If you're into healing, if you're into mediumship, and sometimes it's all of this stuff. So, yeah, talk to me in a development session. You can book that on my website, nextgenmedium.com. Check out more development stuff at nextgenmedium.com, including my vlog and the blog. Also, add your name to my email list. That's right at the footer of the website. Just add your name and your email, and do know that that stuff is just mine. I'm not selling it. Nobody else is looking at it. I got some stuff coming up on NextGen Medium on the NextGen Medium website. That's educational stuff. That's contests for free readings and some really cool development stuff that I can't wait to get started on, but it's a little too soon to start talking about it. So sign up for email so you can be the first to know about that stuff if you are developing yourself. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest for all your social media liking needs. Until next time. Uh-oh. I'm not prepared for this part. Uh-oh. I forgot to go and check out where people are visiting me on my website. Um kind of the spooky part of analytics. Let's see where we're at here, cats. Let's ooh. Ooh. Okay. All right, maybe it's all me. No, I'm kidding. Down. Let's go to P Town. Not province. 3. No, we're gonna go to Portland, Maine. It's my home state. Portland, Maine, USA. Doobadaba, sheebadoo, dow. um, Ontario. Oh, Alberta. Let's do Alberta. Sherwood Park, Alberta, Canada. I'm sure people get freaked out when I do this. Sherwood, Alberta, Canada. So I put CA and I thought it was California, and then I was like, wait, no, that's Canada. Let's go international. Even though Canada's kind of international. Oh, man, those Australians, they're good people. I did Australia last time. I feel kind of bad. Ealing, Greenford. See, then I have to do research. Like, is Greenford like a town? Ealing's like a district? I don't know. See, now I get, oh man, terrible that this is filming. District in West London. Maybe? Oh my god, there's so many words. All right, I'll say Ealing, London. Ealing. It says it's a district. It's a London borough. Ealing, London. Oops. No. And we'll go one more place. Where are we going to go? I'm glad you could watch this. This is riveting. Ooh, we'll go to India. Uh-oh. I got to pronounce this. Maharashtra? Ashtra? Pune? Maharashtra? Mahar. How do I say it? In India. Oh, look at that. It's a state in the western peninsular region of India, occupying a substantial portion of the Deccan Plateau. Maharashtra? Maharashtra? Second most populous state in India, as well as the second most populous country subdivision. Maharashtra. Pune. I don't know how to say Pune. How do you say Pune? Is it Pune or Pune? Puna. See, I gotta sound it out now, or else I'm gonna sound so stupid. Puna. Maharashtra. How do you say Maharashtra? See, I'm convinced that I'm kind of saying it right. Maharashtra. Ashtra. Maharashtra. Hear how they say it. I don't know if I can. Oh, no. It's because I got stuff plugged in and. Oh. Oh, of course. I'm glad you could watch this. I'm glad this is entertaining you. So dumb. I apologize. I should have already had this ready to go. All right, let's see how many times I can butcher Maharashtra. Ashtra. Okay. Until next time, have a pleasant rest of your day. To all of you listening from Portland, Maine, USA, Sherwood Park, Alberta, Canada, Ealing of London, UK, love, and Pune, Maharashtra. I thought I was going to do it. Oh. And Pune, Maharashtra, India. Ugh. Maharashtra. Be safe. Be safe, and I'll chat with you later. See ya. Oh, bye-bye now. Wow. Okay. Longest episode ever again. I apologize. We are almost at the 1 hour mark. So to you, I'm going to say, smash that like button. I'm the last person in the world that should be saying smash that like button, but I think it's over there. Go smash that. And check out the links in the description below. Podcast, blogs, social media, websites. You can also donate at nextgenmedium.com. The donations actually go to keeping the podcast going as well as keeping the website going. You can also book an appointment with me. You want a reading? We can do that. You want to do a development session? We can do that. You want to do both together? We can do that too. Just go to nextgenmedium.com and I use PayPal, so you can pay right through there. You can also flip through my calendar and find a time that works for you. Yeah. Okay. All right. That's it. Whew. I feel like it's on fire today. It's using my imagination like a mofo. All right. Use your imagination like a mofo and don't limit yourself. Just smash that like button and the boundaries and let yourself free. Stop using that imagination for fear. What a disservice to your imagination and to yourself. All right. Bye. And we'll be back next week with a new episode. Bye. NextGenMedium.com. Bye.